So, good morning. All right. Well, here's what I have to say about my three little instruments.
You got to
Um,
share.
oh, right. Yes. There's too many buttons to click, dude. Way too many buttons to click.
There we go.
Okay. All right. So, first things first, like I think we're in this larger range, but let's just look at the daily price channel for a second. So, we've got a second failed breakout essentially. Now we're at the bottom of this area and back in the price channel. So my expectation would be that we're at a key inflection point, and yesterday's or Friday's close is going to be pretty essential to how this auction is going to work out in the short term. So what we did, it all makes sense, and I'm only saying this is a quick setup, is that we tested the all-time high and there just was no appetite to go any higher, and now we're all the way down at the bottom. We had the overnight has gone below this balance area, and then we tried again to break through this low and couldn't do it just now, and we're getting a push higher up into range. So my basic expectation is that this this inflection point right here is going to be essential to deciding how the morning part of the um, auction is going to work out. And what I'm looking for is, I can't sort of not be biased short, but what I'm going to be looking for is a deeper short. Since we're in this price channel and it now looks like we're breaking out, I think this is a price channel. I'm going to be looking for a push up higher and fail, looking to fade the edge of balance and roll back down. And if that doesn't quickly produce a new low of day or take out the overnight low, then I would suspect that one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to go into balance, or the bulls are going to take over, and this range will sort of rule supreme. And I would look for us to close the gap. So there's really no way for me to get long without a lot of movement first. So this is that last attempt to get low here. So we would need to see a push down that fails, a bounce around attempt, and then through. And I may have a chance of getting long there, with the idea that the higher time frame balance is underway. So essentially, play number one that I expect to happen by the time of the open is that we're going to walk up here, roll over, and then drop back down. But if we try and go down first, then I would expect us to, buyers to step in and try and balance this, and then I would be looking for the long side, assuming we can't quickly or easily take out the overnight low. Even better if we hold above yesterday's low, which is 228. So
Hmm.
right in this, yeah, it's not yesterday's low, it's Thursday's low, but Thursday's low right in this area. If we manage to secure that area, then I would be looking to lean long for a higher time frame push back into balance. So that would be YM. I think I want to say that I thought that YM and ES had the best opportunity for the day because they're essentially, I think they're essentially in the same location, in terms of relative to the larger balance picture and where they're at with the price channel. So they basically both look the same. Um, ES, I guess above 80 and a half, I would really want to be looking long because we would be accepting back in the balance. ES to me looks a little bit weaker, and we're a little bit more likely to go short. So I don't have an exact plan other than, I'm going to be looking to fade the top of this balance area. If we start to sprint across this, that changes things, and I will be looking for a short all the way back up here, or a long after this breakout and pull back into this area. If you're following me. So what that would look like, the short would be sprint across, fail, and then we're probably going to balance, or breakout, hold, and then I catch the long across this LVN area, under the idea that we higher time frame balance back into this area is going to control things. Um, Short really looks like breaking this lower range down here at 68, that intermediate low, It doesn't have to break that first, but if I start to see that the sellers are banging, 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 then I'm going to expect that we're going to break the overnight low and then reassess, because again, we're right on the edge of balance as far as all that goes. And RTY, I'm just going to sit
Mhm.
back and wait. This is in a place that is opening up in an LVN, LVA, a low volume area. So there's nothing for me to do. I will just sit and wait until we get to one side or the other on no matter what it does.
Okay. Um,
You're not helping an insecure guy feel secure, Nick.
um, I don't mean to be it that way. I was just going to point out uh, that you know, for the last couple of days, I've been saying that I think the regime is changing,
Yeah.
and I wanted to just point out that this is now a 9-day balance. Okay, and today's action um, is the overnight low is down here. Okay, and the last is there, and the overnight high is here. So there's the bar for what we're doing right now in this session.
Hmm.
Another thing I noticed, um, so clearly to me, this is an attempt to break down.
Yes.
Okay, and so I wanted to just mention that. And I also noticed that even though we're in this 9-day balance, and the range is pretty diminished. I mean, this is the range bar, so you can kind of see that this section is, the lower end of the range. Look at the volume over that same period of time. It's not low. This would be low over here. This would be low over here. This action over here would be low. This is a balance area that had a lot of volume. So I'm expecting a big move out of this area. And if it's to the downside, I think it's going to be pretty big. Now, you were pointing out that area where there's low volume, and you can see it there, you can see it here. I think that that's going to be where where the test goes on today. And whether or not the Bears take it today or later in the week. But I don't think we're going to have a real bullish week myself.
Hmm.
So I'm going to switch over to this, and this is the same time frame, only on a 30-minute chart, where you can see clearly here's the 80.5 we were just talking about, and this is the pushback up into that 80.5, and this is the breakdown overnight. So we have a situation where, in my opinion, we're breaking down on the daily, potentially. We have a potential breakdown on the daily, and we have this area in the overnight session that clearly marks where I think we can use for real good references for today. So my initial thought is short. Of course, my initial thought of everything is always short, but that's another story. So I'm thinking, this area can hold, like balancing down here at the open, like yesterday. We were talking yesterday where we were balancing up the highs would be bullish. Balancing down at the lows, not so bullish. I'd say that would be bearish. A test up to the mid is possible, and a test up to this inflection point area is possible, and even a test all the way up back into balance up here, yesterday's low, essentially is all possible, I suppose. But I think it's more likely to kind of do a checkup and a rotation down, take out this overnight low. We run into a lot of big support down here. The SMA is the 20 SMA is down here. There's a lot of naked VPOCs and other things that are down here. And then there's this huge start of volume down in here. So I would expect that the bulls aren't going to give up too easily. This would be some sort of a check, and then we get some sort of a bounce. I would expect we get a rally towards the end of the day. But that, I'm kind of putting a trader bite together when I talk about that whole thing. All I'm really looking for is this opening area. And my expectation is we check up and we get an impulse down. And then the rest of the day will kind of take care of itself. But I think that that's the way it's going to look right now. And I think we have a couple of clear things. If we start to trade back up into range above here, obviously this is going to be another V bottom, false breakdown thing,
Right.
which is entirely possible. We're in a very bullish market. But I can tell you this, if we don't get that today, market's changed. And it's going to be clear to everyone the market has changed, because all we've ever gotten during this last, regime of the last couple of months is a brief check lower and then move up. We have not experienced this kind of movement lower, where we're kind of cascading down, making lower lows, lower highs, testing up, coming down, impulsing lower. This is a different regime than I think we've seen in the last 2 months.
So your first trade, just quickly cover your first trade um, of the morning.
My first my
Assuming
first trade idea, yeah, my first trade idea is a check up into here, maybe as high as the overnight mid, and an impulse down. I'm going to be looking to short this area up here, thinking that this is a bigger picture breakdown, and this might be the only chance we get to short this. If we break through, if we like open drive through this, then I won't take the short, obviously. I will wait for this to develop before that happens. And that's where I think the first trade is really going to come from. I
Mhm.
would expect that the bulls are going to try to push this back into range right away.
Got it. Cool. Ziggy, did you have anything you wanted to share? You're muted. Okay. So the only one thing, Nick, that I've noticed about myself since we started this to now is that I'm a whole lot less precise about the signals I want to use on the battle plan, and I don't know if that's a problem or not. As I look at, as I come back to, my charts, for instance, I I'm basically trying to say that, here's an area that I think I'll operate in, but I'm not sure, I don't use levels like you do. It's just I've got to wait for the market to kind of show it to me. But I'm wondering if there's value in saying, well, I'm going to be looking against these highs to see if I see effort, no result, or I see a 3-to-1 failure, no interest retest, where the price comes up, rolls back down, tests again, and then we got a third of that initial test um, into this area, and that doesn't need to hold the same high. But once it does, I'm going to be looking to take the rollover bar down, or time that from a risk to reward standpoint to see if I can catch the high of that move back down into the point of control for a scale, and then hopefully, if it moves fast enough, probably won't, to the bottom. That would be play number one that I'd be looking for. How detailed should I start, you know, go back to? I was writing it all down, and I'm just curious what your thought is. Have a little discussion about that.
Oh, I don't write it all down because I think sometimes you can pigeonhole yourself into looking for only one type of thing.
Hmm.
I think what I like to put it in ranges, like I was saying before, is if the market kind of pushes up, I don't know if it's going to stop at the 80 and a half.
Right.
I don't know if it's going to stop at the mid. I don't know if it's going to stop at the 90 and a quarter. No, I don't know. So what I'm going to look for is I'm going to look for the push up, and then I'm going to look for the things that you and I follow all the time. Delta, blocks, all the things you look for. And on Bookmap, you can see some of the big dots and the other things that go on there. So I don't know if it's going to stop here, it's going to stop there, or it's just going to start right there. But I'm expecting that if I was waking up and I was a bull, I would expect, and I was bullish, and my expectation is we remain bullish. What are you expecting to have out of here? You're expecting this.
Yep.
So you're going to try to be active right away, I think. I don't think if the bears are in control, like I suspect, and this is a bigger picture breakdown, like it should be, like I was showing on the daily chart, then the market shouldn't do this. And I'll be clearly wrong with my assessment if it does this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
3,900 is up there too. So there's another level where you can kind of go, okay, we got overnight low. We got yesterday's low at 80 and a half. We got a whole bunch of other things that are going on in this range. And if the bulls are in control, they should want to push this thing back up into range quickly.
I was just thinking the one scenario I'm looking at your screen. So the one scenario upon which that I would not want to act is if this happens before the open and then we're back down in here bouncing around at the open. I'm not going to touch anything. I have to wait till it's resolved. I don't see a way. My I don't I don't suspect that my strength is being able to initiate from a balance area that's been going on for 6 hours now, 4 hours now.
Yeah. I would
It's
also, the one thing I would tell you about that is if it does this and it starts, accepting prices down here, it's not bullish.
No, I'm with you. I think staying on the bear side is right. But what I'm starting to think about is that I don't since I can see how big this is, it looks exact same on YM. If we pop up here and then at the open we are undecided, the only thing I'm going to be looking for is pullbacks that test higher, looking for more sellers to push through. I will not be taking any kind of EMA or anything through this area at all.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to break down and pull back. Otherwise, I'm just not going to be part of it. I've only, like I said, I only got an hour before I've got something to
Yep.
do, and I don't want to take a stop or two and then be sitting on my hands while the market's actually moving, and I can't do anything about it.
Yep. No, that's a
So,
good idea.
okay, well, I'm going to stop.